Okay, well, as we get going here, good evening. Thanks for joining us once again. Want to provide an update on the winter storm bearing down on Iowa. We're just hours away, uh, about 12 to 16 hours away from snowfall beginning in northwest Iowa. And really, the models are staying on track with this, with some snowfall totals and some of the model runs that is quite incredible. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Um, as we look at some of these runs of what to expect through the day on Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday morning. So let's begin right off the bat here. We do have a winter storm warning now in effect for nearly the entire state of Iowa. Winter storm watch remains in effect for the far southern tier of Iowa. Winter weather advisory issued in the county shaded in purple there, including the Omaha Council Bluffs area and areas just south of that. But basically, most of the state now under a winter storm warning. Uh, the times do vary. Northwest Iowa, this will begin tomorrow afternoon, Friday afternoon, and continue until Saturday evening. For Eastern Iowa, this will be more towards Friday evening and lasting until early Sunday morning. This is going to be a long duration event. We do anticipate pretty significant snowfall over a large area of Iowa. I'm going to go ahead and take the alerts off here real quick, and we're going to go ahead and look at some of the new model runs that have come in here. So first we're going to look at one of the high resolution models that's just coming into range of bulk of the storm now. This is the HRR model, HRRR, high resolution rapid refresh. You see there the snow pushing into the state. This is right around noon on Friday, tomorrow afternoon. Snow will begin as that winter storm warning goes into effect for western Iowa. And as we move through the afternoon hours on Friday, you're going to see that snow not only overspread the state, but really intensify in terms of impacts. We could see a wintry mix in portions of western Iowa that may or may not keep the snow totals down a little bit, but still heavy snow expected as that changeover happens. Here you see us at this is at midnight, Friday night into Saturday. Snow pretty much across the entire state of Iowa, moderate to heavy at times, falling very rapidly. And then you see as we move into this is 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, you can see heavy snow falling across the state. So as the sun comes up on Saturday, conditions are going to be about as bad as they can be for most of the state of Iowa. As you see the heavy snow bands falling across much of the area. Highway 30 corridor in the eastern half of Iowa is an area of particular concern, and we could see some of that heavy snow banding all the way back towards Fort Dodge and Storm Lake is the current forecast right now. Now this gray area here, this could be some extremely heavy snowfall falling across the I-80 corridor. This brings us to about noon on Saturday. Very heavy snowfall across a good chunk of Iowa. And then this model wraps up right at 6 o'clock Saturday evening. Heavy snow still falling in eastern Iowa, lighter snow still falling in western Iowa, as well as the warning is expected to wrap up around that. So that's kind of the time frame we're looking at here. From west to eastern Iowa, things getting going Friday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, really picking up in intensity through the afternoon and evening hours. And then by Saturday morning, intense snowfall over much of the state of Iowa that will be making travel likely almost impossible in many places at any given time. If you have any questions, feel free to share them in the chat. Like to hear from you and what your concerns are for the weekend and your travel plans as well. I'm going to go ahead and put the well, before we go back to the warnings, let's take a look at another one of the higher resolution models here, which is just about done coming in. There we go. Okay. So let's go to, this is noon, and you can see, a little bit later start on this model, but similar in location and timing. This is noon on Friday, rain, snow just beginning to overspread in western Iowa. And then as it makes its way, very heavy snowfall in these gray areas in northwest Iowa. This is around 5 o'clock Friday evening, tomorrow night. As we move into 6 o'clock, you see the heavier snow making its way towards the I-80, I-35 corridor, spreading through the area into the overnight hours. This is at midnight, Friday night into Saturday. Again, heavy snow falling over a large portion of the state in these dark blues and these kind of lighter grays. Again, this is midnight, Friday night into Saturday. That heavy snow continues to push to the east overnight, which brings us to around sunrise on Saturday morning, and heavy snow still falling over a large portion of the state. And then as we move through the day on Saturday, you see that heavy snow continuing. This is at noon. Saturday afternoon, more heavy snow falling over a large portion of the area, very, very heavy snowfall rates. And finally exiting the area, this is around midnight, Saturday night into Sunday. And that is as far out as this model goes. Now, snowfall totals. We are getting some incredible amounts on these, some of these model runs. Have somebody asking if it will be a lighter, fluffier, or heavier, slushier snow in terms of shoveling and snowblowing. Well, it sounds like it's going to be both. As the snow starts falling, we're going to see a bit of a heavier, wetter snow. Not quite as heavy as what we saw a couple weeks ago in northwest Iowa, but it's going to be on the heavier side. But temperatures are going to be crashing throughout this event. And so as it continues to go on, we're going to see a lighter, fluffier snow. We're going to have a little bit of blowing problems. We don't expect any blizzard criteria, but we could see wind gusts anywhere from 20 to 30 miles an hour at times during the storm. And that's going to greatly reduce visibility as we move through the overnight hours into Saturday morning, throughout the day on Saturday and Saturday evening. Blowing snow is going to be a serious problem to travel across the state of Iowa. I know it's not going to be considered a blizzard, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to see any road closures. That doesn't mean that conditions are going to be impassable, if not impossible at times, over large areas. And obviously those north-south roads are going to be a major concern, especially the I-35 corridor through central Iowa. Always a bit of a concern with storms like this, with heavy snow, blowing snow from west to east. Really going to cause some blowing and drifting problems as road crews are going to try and do what they can. The good, hopeful news is if things can wrap up early enough in the day on Sunday, that hopefully they'll get a good 24 hours under their belt before regular activities begin on Monday morning. That's the hope, because as the snow moves out, the extreme cold is going to move in, and we're looking at below zero wind chills as we move into the new work week beginning on Monday, which is just going to make conditions all the more miserable across the state of Iowa. So that is what we're looking at. Now, as far as snowfall totals are concerned, we are seeing some incredible numbers. Let me flip over here to our map. This is our latest forecast. I'm going to have to fix this map here. Bear with me. Apologize, a little bit crude here. But you can see the snow totals we're looking at. There's going to be a pretty sharp cutoff on the southern edge of this between the trace to 3-inch amount to 4 to 8. But look at that large area of purple of 8 inches or higher. Now, where you see the red, officially that's still 8 inches or higher, but that is where the greatest risk exists for over a foot of snow. It's not often we say that with the winter storm system here in Iowa, but that area has anywhere between a 5 and 20% chance of seeing more than a foot of snow. Some of the models going as high as 16 to 18 inches. I don't think right now we're going to see that over a large area. I think 16 to 18 inches is possible in very isolated areas if these models are correct, both on the intensity and the amount of precipitation available. But I think 8 inches is the highest likelihood for that entire area in purple and red. And then the area you see in red, we could see several areas reach that 12-inch or higher mark, with local amounts being potentially higher in some very isolated areas. Do you think the Weather Service will be fairly locked in forecast amounts for snow? I think right now they're they're pretty locked in right now because we're talking about some pretty significant snowfall. They're really going on probabilities, and so that 8 inches or higher estimate is a pretty likely event for people in that purple and red color. I think the people who are in the red area, this includes Des Moines, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Dubuque, Quad Cities. For people there to expect 12 inches or more, again, I think the probability for that is right around 5 to 20%, which is a significant risk, but that doesn't mean everyone in that red area is going to see a foot of snow. Right now, we always kind of err on the side of being a little conservative with these totals because we don't want people to see the red and say everyone in that red area is going to get 12 inches of snow. That's not the case right now. Could happen for many areas, but certainly not everyone. Do you know when the last time we received that much snow in Cedar Rapids? I don't. We've had some significant snowfalls. We've had significant winter storms and blizzards. We had a rather large one in 2011, I believe, that really hit eastern Iowa pretty hard and shut down a good portion of the state for a day or two. I don't believe this will be a record snowfall. Again, this is going to be a long duration event. We're talking 36 to 48 hours for this snow to fall. And so that's the one thing that hopefully will help road crews as they're making their way out and tackling this, is that it's not all falling at the same time. And so hopefully that, coupled with this wrapping up early in the day on Sunday, we hope that will be enough to give road crews time to really get through this. The one bit of good news, we don't expect a lot of mixed precipitation. This is a snow event. It's going to be a snow event. That is the main primary concern here. Winds will be a problem, but they won't be reaching the level of blizzard criteria, which I believe is sustained winds of 35 miles an hour or more for at least 3 hours. We're not going to see anything like that, but we could see gusts upwards of 20 to 30 miles an hour at times across much of the state on Saturday and Sunday, and in behind this Sunday night into Monday and the beginning of the work week next week. Thanks for all your questions. If anybody else has any questions, comments, or concerns for this, the bottom line is, as we get into the overnight hours Saturday and overnight hours Friday into Saturday, Saturday morning is going to be an absolute abysmal travel time for the state of Iowa. You can see on the left side of your screen, we do have updated road conditions. They're all fine right now. They should stay that way for at least another 12 to 16 hours. But once they start to deteriorate, they're going to deteriorate quickly, and they're not going to get much better. Because this is a long duration event, crews are going to be able to do only so much because the snow is just going to keep falling and falling and falling, and we expect large areas to see significant snowfalls. And again, blowing and drifting snow will be a problem, especially in those flat, remote areas. I-35 is always a problem with that. I-29 in western Iowa, in the Sioux City area, we see a lot of problems on that road in weather events like this. And so interstate closures, not out of the question here, as these heavy snowfalls will come down, and then people who do choose to venture out that do get stuck in this are just going to complicate matters for crews who are trying to keep those roads as clear as possible. But there could be times where it's simply too dangerous to plow, and that is a real concern as we move through this time frame. People in rural areas, not sure if you're going to be dug out by Monday. We'll see. Honestly, if these snow totals verify, it will be a significant weather event. One in terms of this widespread, we haven't seen in some time. So, I had my friend meteorologist Kyle Mara on about a month or so ago talking about what to expect this winter, and he was talking about it being a pretty concerning winter for snow and cold. And here we are, not even in December, and here we go. We now have a unusually large winter storm system now bearing down on us before we even get to meteorological winter on December 1st, just by a day or two. So he said, I've heard some people recommend for larger snow amounts to snowblow multiple times and split it up. Do you think at the end so you don't get the ice layer? It depends on what you have. People who have big industrial snow blowers, they'll deal with this. but most snowblowers are not going to get the job done if you have blowing and drifting snow. I can tell you from my experience here in Marion in eastern Iowa, it's gonna take 2 or 3 rounds to keep things clear. So fortunately, wind chills won't be a major concern. They're not going to be great, but they're not going to be terrible during the first half of the storm system. So taking a shot or two at that first wave of the snow is not going to be the worst idea to hopefully get through this and get things cleared in time by Monday morning. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We will likely late tomorrow morning into the afternoon, we will have the live stream up. We may not always be on camera, we may not always be talking, but we'll always have the radar up. As the storm system moves in beginning Friday morning, we'll try to have the live cameras up for you. We'll try and find some more as well. And we will have the road conditions up for you, and any road closures that pop up, we will bring those to you here on the channel. Of course, right now, again, the road conditions are clear. No weather problems to speak of, and it's going to stay that way likely until tomorrow afternoon. If you can get to where you need to go before tomorrow afternoon, before noon, you're going to be okay. Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, you got most of the afternoon. I think people who are going to the Hawkeye game in Lincoln are going to be okay. If they can get out of Lincoln after the game, they hopefully will have several hours to get home. Those of you that go to the game and maybe need to get to Fort Dodge and points north and west, that's going to be a problem. But I think everyone else, there's going to be a window of opportunity Friday afternoon to get where you need to go and essentially hunker down for the rest of the weekend. So if you have plans to travel home and that travel takes you through Iowa, tomorrow morning, early tomorrow afternoon is the best time frame to get where you need to go before conditions really deteriorate. The science behind the probabilities. Well, you know, it's a lot of math, and computers do help us out with that. It really has to do with how much precipitation we see falling. It has to do with the ratio. I know a lot of people think that 1 inch of rain equals 10 inches of snow, but that's not an absolute. Sometimes 1 inch of rain can be 5 inches of snow. Sometimes it can be 30 inches of snow, depending on the dryness of the snow. We're going to see that ratio change throughout the storm system, probably beginning closer to 10 to 1 and maybe going up to 15 to 20 to 1 by the time things are said and done, which is what's adding to the snowfall estimates, because there is ample precipitation and moisture that is surging out ahead of the storm system. I mean, you see in recent days, a lot of Iowa's been dealing with dense fog, a lot of moisture out there, and that is going to be available to the storm system as this cold air rushes in. As the storm system passes pretty much right along the Missouri-Iowa border, and so the entire state is going to be in the cold sector as the snow falls again beginning Friday afternoon and lasting in eastern Iowa until at least Sunday morning. Hopefully by sunrise, some parts of the state may begin to see an end to that snow, but it is going to be a very long process to get dug out of this if these snowfall totals verify. Again, things can still change. Tracks can change quickly. What's impressive with this is we have seen, boy, from about a week ago, maybe even longer to today, we've seen very dramatic snow totals in the models, and generally we see those totals come down as more and more models get a look at this, and we hope to see consistency in the track and timing between the models. We've seen that. We hope to see consistency in the snowfall totals. We're seeing that as well, and most of the models are saying these very large snow totals appear to be real. So we'll see if they verify. They can absolutely be wrong. I don't think this is going to be a situation where we're going to wake up Sunday morning and there's not going to be any snow. There is going to be significant snow across Iowa by Sunday morning. But right now, everything is telling us that most of the state has an extremely high potential for 8 inches of snow, 4 inches at least. 8 inches or higher, very possible for much of the state of Iowa. Wish that could be dispelled. Well, first of all, I'm not a meteorologist. I have studied weather my whole life. I've been storm chasing for 25 years. And I know a lot of meteorologists who have taught me a lot, and I very much appreciate it because I love learning about this, and ideas and theories, and the technology just keeps changing. Um, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is the accuracy of the forecasts. I think the biggest thing, you look on the screen right now and you see those 4 to 8, 1 to 3, 8 or higher, risk for 12. People will look at those and they'll just look at that top number and think that's what I'm going to get. And that's not the case. Everyone living in that red area, which is probably well over 1 million Iowans, uh, not everyone's going to see a foot of snow. That is where the greatest risk for a foot of snow exists. Just like when you see a slight to moderate to high risk for severe weather for any given area, this is a pretty moderate to high risk for a foot of snow in that area. A lot of people in that area may only see 8 inches, and if the forecast isn't quite on the ball, it could be 4 to 6. But the risk is significantly high for this area and very, very notable for 12 inches or more right now. Personally, I would love to see that change because I don't want to shovel all of it. And I know many of you don't want to shovel it or snow blow it or however you're going to deal with it. But right now, that's what the models are telling us. And we have been very impressed with how consistent they've been over the last week. And we're going to see if they got this right. You know, every time the models get something wrong, it does provide data to hopefully make them more accurate the next time and let us know which runs and which ones we need to maybe scrutinize a little bit more. No, I appreciate the compliment, and hopefully you've got plans to kind of hunker down for the weekend. I think that's going to be the best advice. If you can get all of your traveling out of the way by early tomorrow afternoon, great. If you can get rid of all of your travel after then until at least Monday morning, that would be ideal. And just expect a lot of cold next week and a lot of snow on the ground, and make sure you bundle up as appropriately as you need to. All right, so we're going to go back to our model here. We're going to switch back just to remind you of the alerts we have in effect right now. Nearly the entire state of Iowa now under a winter storm warning. Various expiration dates for this depending on where you live. In western Iowa, this warning runs until about Saturday afternoon, I believe. Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Eastern Iowa, this is going to continue until Sunday morning, I believe. Just double check that. Saturday morning, 6 a.m. So Eastern Iowa, midnight tomorrow night, Saturday morning into 6 o'clock Sunday morning. So this is essentially a 36-hour winter storm warning wherever you are. So again, a long duration event and a very, very heavy snowfall forecast for a very, very large portion of the state. You see the winter storm watch still in effect for far as southern Iowa. They may be upgraded tomorrow morning to a warning. They may just extend this winter weather advisory you see back here in purple, simply because this is where there's less confidence of 6 inches or more of snow. So we'll have to see what the Weather Service does with that in the Quad Cities. La Crosse obviously has gone ahead and gone with this winter storm warning for northeast Iowa. That will likely extend into southern Wisconsin, and this will all be moving to the Chicago metro area. So if you know people traveling in the Chicago area, Saturday and Sunday are going to be awful days in the Chicago metro area, the Milwaukee metro area, Madison metro area as well. It is going to be an ugly end to the holiday travel season, and there's going to be a lot of disruption. So people who were planning on traveling right up to Sunday in the upper Midwest, it is going to be a problem to our east and some of the biggest traveling hubs here in the upper Midwest. If anyone else has any questions, feel free to share them in the chat. As always, the best way to support us, we do have a super chat function. You're more than welcome to use the super chat function to support us. Otherwise, the best way, if you don't have any funds to give, totally understand that. Like these live streams, subscribe to the channel. It really boosts our numbers. It boosts us in the algorithms to get this message out there. Again, what you see on your screen right now, we plan on bringing this live throughout the storm, beginning late Friday morning as conditions begin to deteriorate in western Iowa. We've got a couple of live cameras. Entering road conditions throughout the event. Here, of course, everything looks normal right now. And hopefully, if my coding works correctly, it will also show us any road closures that happen. I would say that's quite possible, especially for roadways like I-29, I-35. North-south roads are obviously going to be dealing with the brunt of this, but it's going to be bad no matter what direction the road may take you as we move through the day on Friday night into Saturday and even Sunday morning. All right, so we're back now to our advisories. For those of you just joining us, we'll take a look at the latest models here once again and get a look at the timing and the track. A lot of good agreement. Oh, it cut out the audio. Yeah, that's my fault. Let me fix that here real quick before I forget to do that. Okay, that one's fixed. Okay, thanks for catching that, chat. I appreciate that. We'll make sure that doesn't happen again. So let's go through the track here one more time as we're looking at tomorrow afternoon into Sunday morning. We'll go ahead and take the warnings off here so you can see a little bit better. And again, we'll start with the highest resolution models. This is, again, this is noon on tomorrow at noon. So not long after the Hawkeye game begins in Lincoln. Snow should be beginning to overspread the area along and north of I-80 in far western Iowa. And then by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there you see snow breaching the Des Moines area and points north and west. Some mixed precipitation and some snowfall possible beginning in the Omaha area. And then we see it intensify and really overspread the area by midnight tomorrow night into Saturday. Look at all that heavy snow. Right now, this model is saying more of a mix in western Iowa. Other models are not saying that. They're saying snow. So that's going to be a big question mark for snow totals in western Iowa, especially south of Highway 20, whether or not that changeover to snow happens and stays. But again, you see some of the darker blues where the heavier snow will be. You look at Cedar Rapids back towards Vinton, Eldora, Iowa Falls. And again, this is Friday night into Saturday morning. So as we get to sunrise on Sunday, look at that. This is 6 o'clock Saturday morning. Heavy snow over much of the state. Very heavy rates. Just about everywhere south of, let's say Highway 3 or south of Mason City as well. Heavy snow. At one point we thought that this would come in 2 waves and we'd get a bit of a break on Saturday. We're not going to get a break. This is basically going to be a 1-2 punch that doesn't stop. As we move into the noon time frame on Saturday, look at all this heavy snow falling. Just incredible rates being forecast along and south of Highway 30. And then as we move through Saturday afternoon, that's where this model ends. At about Saturday evening at 6 o'clock, still heavy snow falling over much of eastern Iowa. Hopefully things beginning to ease off in western Iowa by then. So let's take a look at the latest run on our other high-resolution model. This is the North American model, also known as the NAM. And again, we'll move to... Oops, still loading. There we go. As we move to noon tomorrow, there we see a little bit behind, but the same general idea. The model's very, very close in timing and track as this moves in. There you see noon tomorrow, and then by 6 o'clock, you see it overspreading much of the state. This puts down much heavier snowfall rates, and I can tell you this one's putting some pretty insane snowfall totals between highways 3 and 30. From Fort Dodge to Eldora to Cedar Rapids down to the Quad Cities. This is one of the models that's saying widespread, well over 1 foot of snow. we'll have to see if that happens. This one's obviously got some intense snowfall moving over the area Saturday afternoon and evening. As we move to the midnight time frame, this is midnight Saturday into Sunday, or excuse me, midnight Friday into Saturday, excuse me. Very heavy snowfall falling across much of the state. Do see a little bit of lighter snowfall here in western Iowa, but it doesn't matter as another wave pushes through. Very heavy snowfall continuing. This is right around daybreak on Saturday. Heavy snowfall across the state of Iowa, and then just more of the same as we go into the afternoon and evening hours of Saturday, with things really not letting up. This is midnight Saturday into Sunday, and if this model's correct, the snow is going to move out overnight Saturday into Sunday, which would be great. But Sunday is still going to be, either way, it's going to be an awful travel day as road crews are going to be left scrambling to dig us out of this, because it's not just heavy snowfall, it's heavy snowfall across the state. And this is a massive, massive event that is really going to put a strain on resources across the state. So no matter how you shake it, very heavy snowfall appears to be on track for the entire state of Iowa, essentially, with a few minor exceptions. Those are two of the main models that we've been looking at, and they are certainly, it is not common for them to show widespread snowfall totals this close to the event that are this high, and so we're taking that very seriously, but we don't want to overly alarm people, because when people see those numbers, they think that's going to happen everywhere, and that may or may not be the case. We're just going to have to wait and see. There's a lot of moisture that this storm system has to deal with. It's going to begin as a bit of a heavier snow, but as time goes on, it's going to become lighter and fluffier, and that's going to increase the snowfall totals as it continues to fall. And so how that ratio between how much precipitation produces how many inches of snow is going to really nail down exactly how much snow we're going to see from this. Either way, it's going to be a lot. Again, a long duration event, so best advice is if you make sure you bundle up. This is going to be one of those situations where you may want to make a pass or two on your driveway or sidewalk as the storm is happening, rather than try and just ride it out for 2 days and then dig out, because it could end up being very deep, especially with blowing and drifting in some more open areas. We don't expect blizzard conditions, but we do expect blowing and drifting as we move through Saturday and Sunday, and that will be problematic. Especially for those north-south roads again, I-29, I-35, the usual culprits. Best advice is it's going to be a good day to just stay home. Troy says, I'm going to the Amanas on Saturday. Troy, I don't know how far you're traveling to get to the Amanas, but it is not going to be a good day. I would not be surprised that many plans of organized events on Saturday may be called off, because right now, there's no good news in the forecast, I'll tell you that much. There are some models, especially some experimental models, that have lower snow totals, but they're still heavy. They're still heavy snow totals that are going to have a real impact on the state. So even if this forecast doesn't verify, we're still going to see heavy snow. By every metric that we can look at, this is going to happen. The concern now is whether it's going to be a heavy snow or a very heavy snow. Will Southeast Iowa get the winter storm warning? Well, Southeast Iowa essentially does. We just have one tier of counties right now that are not in that warning. And that basically comes down to timing, because the snow is going to start later there than it does in the area that's already under a warning. So the National Weather Service in Des Moines, the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities, they'll likely make their decision here in the next 6 hours. And so when you wake up tomorrow, we'll see whether or not those counties are under a winter storm warning or a winter weather advisory. If you look over towards Omaha, you see they've opted for a winter weather advisory, and this could change too. As they fine-tune the track, some of these counties could be dropped from the warning, or some of these counties could be added to the warning, and so we'll see what they do here. I'd say it's quite possible that most of these counties are going to be added to the winter storm warning. And what the warning means is that we're looking at a snow event of 6 or more inches of snow. We really don't have a criteria above that, other than snow squall warnings. And honestly, we could see some snow squall warnings, depending on the intensity of the snow. Now, a snow squall warning is something new, where you get a very brief but intense snowfall. And embedded in this, we could see some of that if what these models are showing plays out. So Anywhere in the winter storm watch, I would tell you plan on a winter storm warning. As far as road closures are concerned, um, in most parts of the state, with the exception of the major interstates, we generally don't see closures unless a county declares them closed or there's a crash that's forcing them to close the road. Um, North-south roads like I-29, I-35, I-380, those are going to be very problematic, especially in open and rural areas. This is not going to be a blizzard condition situation, but with the amount of snow we're talking about and the wind gusts that will be out there, um, it will be significant. And so travel is likely not going to be advised for some time, beginning late on Friday and through the day on Saturday and possibly into the day on Sunday. This is, again, going to be a long duration event. It is going to put a major drain on road crews, not just because of the duration of the event, but the size of the event. I mean, this is virtually the entire state of Iowa when all is said and done. So, major concern. Weekend plans are not a good idea. Not a good idea unless it is life or death. Um, and I hate to say that because we always have that thought in the back of our head. Well, maybe it won't be so bad, and I could have made it. Well, it really depends on how much you're willing to risk it, because depending on how severe it is, you also have to have that thought in your head that if you can't make it and you get stuck somewhere, it could be some time before somebody reaches you. And we've had storms like that where people get stuck overnight in the snow because crews simply can't reach them and it's too dangerous to reach them. So if it is a life or death situation, you have to take a shot. Make sure you have plenty of batteries, that you have a way to keep your cell phone charged, that you have plenty of blankets. But again, I would say it's a very safe thing to say right now that from Saturday morning, late Friday night into Sunday morning, all day Saturday, travel is not going to be advised over much of the state of Iowa. If what we're seeing plays out, and right now the likelihood of that playing out is quite strong. When you say we have a 50% chance of thunderstorms, you probably think you're going to see some thunderstorms. Right now, most of the state has an 80 to 90% chance of seeing 6 inches, certainly a 50% chance of seeing 8 or more inches. And if we go back to some of our probabilities here, a very large area that's got about a 10 to 25% risk of more than a foot of snow. Now, that's a significant risk. That doesn't mean everyone in that red area is going to see a foot of snow. They're not. But a very large area has a pretty substantial risk of seeing up to or well in excess of a foot of snow. Family Thanksgiving, boy, that's going to be a problem. I would certainly have a conversation with your relatives. Saturday is not going to be a day for travel across the state of Iowa. There is just nothing that anyone is seeing, and I haven't found anybody. And I do seek out and see what other people are thinking. I've talked to some of my friends and other, both in and out of the weather world, those that track this. And you can certainly, I highly encourage you to go check out your local meteorologist, your local television stations, the National Weather Service, as always. Everybody's saying the same thing. We're all looking at this and we're all seeing the level of confidence in this forecast is quite strong. So, yikes is the best word for it. I certainly can tell you if I had to venture out Saturday, I wouldn't do it. And so I think that's a very serious conversation you need to have with your family tomorrow morning. And there's time, if you're really concerned about plans on Saturday, sleep on it tonight, see if the forecast is still holding tomorrow morning. And then I think it's time to make a decision, because again, west to east, you're talking about the Amanas, Troy. I would say around sunset, you can expect between sunset and 10 p.m. the snow to begin tomorrow in the Amanas. And it's not going to let up until Sunday morning or Sunday morning or early Sunday afternoon. Again, long duration event. There is a potential in the Amanas for a foot of snow, could be more. 8 inches of snow in the Amanas is a very likely possibility right now. And so let me look at some of the probabilities. We look at the Weather Prediction Center puts out probabilistic winter precipitation maps. And for more than 8 inches for the Amanas right now, the National Weather Service says it is a 70 to 80% likelihood that the Amanas will see 8 or more inches of snow. 12 inches, right now the Amanas, 20 to 30% chance of a foot or more of snow in the Amanas when all is said and done. So that's a lot of snow. Road crews are going to have a heck of a time, especially when you're dealing with some of the smaller highways, the county highways. It is going to be a problem. And the real question is, with the amount of wind that we have, even if it's not blizzard criteria, the rate of the snowfall, there could be periods where counties have just simply got to pull their plows off the road because it's not safe for them anymore. And when that happens, then those roads are not getting plowed until the sun comes up. That is a real possibility. We've seen that happen here before. So if any of you, like Troy, have plans on Saturday, it's time to have a serious conversation about whether it's worth it if it involves travel. You still have time. Sleep on it. See if the forecast changes tomorrow morning when you wake up. But anything that involves travel Saturday and most of the day on Sunday, you really need to think twice about it, because this is going to be a widespread heavy snow event. I honestly, off the top of my head, can't remember the last time we saw one this widespread like this, if this does verify. And highly unusual to see it this early in the year as well. Again, meteorological winter doesn't begin until December 1st, and we're going to spend the first day of meteorological winter probably still digging out from this, and then just being buried in horrifically cold weather, wind chills below zero, likely most of the mornings as we head into the work week. Winter is going to come, and it's going to knock us on our face here real hard over the next 12 to 24 hours. Now, hopefully the good news is many of you have some leftovers to get through the weekend. But if you do need to get supplies, and man, I hate going to the grocery store before a snowstorm when people, panic for their bread and water and their milk, but you've got time. Okay. I know most stores weren't open today. They'll be open tomorrow morning. Even in far northwest Iowa, the Sioux City area, you've got until midday. There will be time if you need to get supplies for the rest of the weekend to get you through to Monday. You've got time. No need to panic right now. Plenty of time tomorrow to get what you need. And just please be patient with everybody out and about, as I think there's, on top of the Black Friday shopping that we're used to on Friday, I think there is going to be a rush on preparations for this storm, because honestly, people have been looking at it, but they may not have been thinking about it because of all the plans people had today. We had Thanksgiving at our house today, and I tried to maybe sit back a little bit and just enjoy some football and some food for the day, because this is going to kind of consume everybody's attention here over the next 72 hours here in Iowa, as this is just quite a storm system that is moving in. Again, I want to thank everybody who's joining us, everybody who's commented. Again, if you have any questions, share them in the chat. If you have any concerns, share them as well. Best way to support us, we do accept super chats. That's a great way to support the channel. But above all else, just like the video, subscribe to the channel. We will have a live stream going throughout the storm. We may or may not be on talking at that point, but we will try and have a live stream up where we can show you the latest map. When we finally do get the snow in the area, we can show you the radar loops and the live radar. And as we said, we do have some live cameras. We'll try and have as many of these up as we can. Looks like there may be a couple doing some late night skating in downtown Des Moines right now. Not a bad night to do it, to be honest. And we also have a live shot from the Pentecrest at the University of Iowa, where everything is quiet tonight, as most places remain closed for the Thanksgiving holiday, but things will pick up tomorrow. And again, plenty of time to get what you need for the weekend tomorrow morning, and tomorrow afternoon over much of the state of Iowa. How quickly will snow melt after this weekend? Someone asks. It's not. Um, I don't think I can pull this up, but well, maybe I can. You're not going to see actual numbers on this, but I think I can pull this up. No, I cannot pull it up on this version, unfortunately. Okay. Nope, can't do that. Let me see if I can pop this up. I'm going to try and pull up a snow depth graphic here. Oops, that is not what I wanted to do. Oh, you just don't want to cooperate, do you? Okay, hopefully that works. Bear with me here. I'm going to try and get a different map here on the screen for you to look at. Okay, I apologize if this is a little crude. I'm going to switch over to snow depth. And we're going to switch over to one of the longer range models for this. Now, this is one of the models forecasting slightly lower totals. You can see this is Monday, this is Tuesday, and this is Wednesday. That snow's sticking around. Thursday, maybe by the end of the week, we'll see a little bit of melting, but right now, the long-range models, this snow is here to stay. Welcome to winter. There's a warm-up potential sometime around December 7th or 8th. That's when we could see some snow melting. Again, this is a long ways out. Now we're talking about almost 2 weeks out. So this forecast, this long-range forecast, will fluctuate. So when we talk about a warm-up in a couple of weeks, it's possible, not guaranteed, as that is a long way off. But by all accounts, the snow's falling this weekend, and it's here to stay. Take a look and show you the temperatures we're looking at. This is overnight Monday. When you wake up Monday morning, single digits, quite possible over much of the state of Iowa. Highs on Monday, teens, maybe 20 degrees if you're lucky. And then some below zero conditions as we move into Monday night into Tuesday morning. Again, these are air temperatures. If we want to take a look at the wind chill, this is Tuesday morning again. When you get up on Tuesday morning, wind chills could be double digits below zero over parts of the state. And that will probably be the coldest morning is Tuesday morning. But we could see below zero wind chills Monday morning as well, Sunday night into Monday morning. And then we will moderate a little bit, but not enough to get rid of the snow. Let's go back to air temperatures here. Teens, maybe 20s by midweek. That's not going to melt. They'll melt a little bit of the snow if we get some sunshine, and then maybe getting above freezing briefly around late next week. But we're still going to go down below freezing during the evening, and again during the day. Later next week, we're going to dip back into the teens and 20s. So hope you like the snow, because once it falls, it's going to be here to stay at least for a week or two, I would say. Hopefully this isn't going to turn into a scenario like I recall the winter of 2000. I think we got snow in December and it stuck around till April. That can get tiresome after a while, that's for sure. Okay. So just to recap, I'll go ahead and put the warning back up here for you. We have a long duration winter storm, heavy snow event that's going to impact essentially the entire state of Iowa. Snowfall will begin in northern and western Iowa sometime around or after midday tomorrow. It will overspread the state by early evening, late afternoon, early evening. The Des Moines and Ames area should be experiencing snow after sunset for eastern Iowa. At times, overnight Friday into Saturday, it will be very heavy, and there will be a little bit of blowing and drifting as well. And then it just continues throughout the day on Saturday and into Sunday. Road conditions at times will likely be not advised at best and flat out impossible or closed at worst across portions of the state Saturday and Sunday. Cleanup from this is going to take some time. If these snowfall totals verify, this is going to be a very, very heavy snowfall. Right now, there is a large portion of the state where we expect 8 inches or more from most areas, and a significant area that has a very real risk of reaching a foot of snow or more in areas, in local isolated areas of that shaded in red. Polar vortex next week. I mean, if you want to call it that, that's where the cold air comes from. Yeah, it is. We're entering that season where these strong storm systems. This is a strong storm system. It's going to draw that air down to us, and that's what we're seeing. Normally, we don't see air this cold this early in the winter, but this is the situation that we're looking at. I encourage you to check it out. About a month ago, I did a live chat with meteorologist Kyle Mara, who I've known for almost 20 years now. And we had to talk about what he was looking at, kind of big picture for this winter. And there are some concerning signs that this could be a more severe winter season than we've seen in recent years. And that could mean a lot of cold periods and a lot of snowy periods as well. And we'll see if that plays out, but it's going to play out this weekend. Without a doubt, it's going to play out this weekend. So I hope these numbers end up being too high, but there is just too much information out there telling us that this is a real possibility and we need to prepare for it. We can hope, but we need to prepare for this. Absolutely. Again, thanks to everybody who's joining us. Thanks to everyone who's commented and asked questions in the chat. If you haven't yet, feel free. I know a lot of people have travel concerns. The general rule of thumb is if you need to travel Saturday or Sunday, do your best not to. This is going to be a long duration event, but if you feel the need that you need to get ready or you need to go get supplies, you've got plenty of time tomorrow. Snow shouldn't begin until around or after noon tomorrow in far western Iowa. It will likely be dark before it really hits eastern Iowa. There is time. And that's why we're sounding this alarm right now. That's why you see the winter storm warning now in effect for virtually the entire state. There is time to prepare, and they're getting the word out as quickly as possible because they know it's a holiday. People are traveling. People may or may not be paying attention to the forecast along their route. If you have a route on Friday night or Saturday, it is not going to be a pleasant one, and you need to seriously think about alternative plans other than traveling. But again, there's time. Sleep on it tonight. See if anything changes tomorrow morning. We'll try and have an update for you tomorrow morning. And if nothing changes, it's time to have a conversation about what you need to do rather than venture out Friday night or Saturday. One thing that's also unique about this storm system for this time of year, we have no concerns about the type of precipitation. It's going to be snow. You can see on our live cameras in Iowa City and Des Moines, we are well below freezing. We have had well below freezing temperatures for the last couple of days. The ground is cooling. This is not going to be a situation where it's not going to stick. It is going to stick. And that is what's also bringing these snow totals up quite high, is the fact that the air is cool, the ground is cool, and the amount of moisture that's expected to be available to the storm system is quite strong. Now, what could impact that? What could maybe bring those snow totals down? Well, one thing is that the center of circulation, the low pressure center, could pass by and not be as strong as we think it's going to be right now. And if it's not as strong, it's not bringing that moisture up and around on the cold sector where we're going to be. But right now, boy, every a short and moderate term model that has been reliable so far is saying that this is going to be a strong one. Troy, you said you work at Pizza Ranch from 5 to 9 tomorrow night. I think you're going to be okay. Especially in Burlington, the snow may not even get going till after 9 o'clock. And even if it does get going by 9 o'clock, it will be at the early stages of that. So Burlington, I think tomorrow night you're going to be okay. But after that, I think things are going to deteriorate overnight very quickly in Burlington and just about everywhere else here in the state of Iowa. Again, likely sometime around noon tomorrow, we'll probably get the feed up. That doesn't mean you're going to see my face talking for the next 48 hours. There's no way I can pull that off. We'll pop in for occasional updates when there's new information, but we will try and have all of this information up beginning tomorrow, early tomorrow afternoon, and likely throughout the day, Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday morning. As we, the attention by Sunday morning will begin turning towards the road conditions across the state of Iowa. Again, everything's fine right now. Everything's going to be fine in the morning. And we'll really see things from west to east begin deteriorating tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and it is going to be bad tomorrow night, Saturday, into Sunday morning for most of the state of Iowa. What are the chances of the storm weakening? It's always possible. We've seen absolute busts many times before. They're less and less often as our forecasting models and our algorithms and our math gets better and better with more data being ingested faster by these supercomputers. There are literally some of the fastest computers on the planet that the National Weather Service, NOAA, and other international meteorological agencies employ to crunch the data as fast as they can on these computer models. And they are pretty reliable. There has been some loss in reliability from American models because of budget cuts, because of less data going into them on a daily basis. But so far we've seen with some of our thunderstorm systems and some of our earlier winter storm systems that the models have been doing a pretty good job. So whatever tweaking and adjustments they've made, they're still doing pretty good. And this is going to be a real test because this is such an unusual storm for this time of year. Absolutely, it's worth having some doubt. But we're seeing a lot of potential here. And if it does pan out, all the credit goes to the people that maintain these computer models, because this was forecasted well in advance. I would say most local news agencies have been sounding the alarm of the potential for at least a week now, if not longer, to keep an eye out, and have already been sounding the alarm for days about heavy snow over much of the state. Now that we're in these final hours before the storm hits, nothing's changed. The models have been extremely consistent in track and timing and intensity, and we're going to find out over the next couple of days how good of a job they did. Given that stores were closed today and likely will be closed or not busy on Saturday, what are the best things to buy tomorrow in terms of groceries? Well, that depends on you. Look, you just got to plan on staying home for the weekend and not wanting to venture out much next week just because it's going to be cold and unpleasant. It's not going to be impossible. Whatever you enjoy, I don't think there's any required food for a winter storm. But it's a holiday weekend. Find stuff that you enjoy. And looking back to my childhood, thank God that we have ways of talking and interacting with our friends and family if we can't be together in person because of the weather. We didn't have that back in the day. If you were lucky, you had a phone and that your friend wasn't long distance. I guess that's the one good reason to err on the side of caution if you have weekend plans is, look, we have technology. It can't replace everything, but at least you can stay in contact with people if it just doesn't make sense to venture out and about in this weather. Yeah, this will be a big one. Hopefully the winds will stay down. Right now, there's no indication that we'll see blizzard conditions, but that doesn't mean that roads are going to be passable. We're still going to see significant snow. We're still going to see significant blowing and drifting. Again, this is a long duration event. The reason we're not talking about blizzard conditions is because Right now, there's no indication we're seeing that we're going to have sustained winds of 30, 35 miles an hour for more than 3 hours at a time. But we are going to see winds of 10 to 25 miles per hour, possibly higher gusts at times. There will be blowing and drifting. Power outages, hopefully not. As the snow becomes a little finer, I don't think it hopefully will not weigh down anything. And to be honest, we've had so many large events here in Iowa with the derecho and everything else that I think we have by most stretches of the imagination, we have a pretty reinforced power grid here in Iowa compared to many states. Power outages certainly possible, not because of the wind, not because of ice, but there could be isolated areas. I don't expect this is a situation where we're going to see widespread outages unless there's a catastrophic equipment failure. So I don't think anyone needs to be prepared for long duration power outages. But like any storm, thunderstorm or otherwise, you could lose power for a while. So just, make sure you have blankets, make sure you have flashlights. But I don't think that's a major concern. I think the major concern right now is staying off the roads. And the more people stay off the roads, especially Saturday and Sunday, the more the road crews can get their work done and hopefully clear the way in time for Monday morning, because Monday morning is going to be absolutely frigid. It's going to be even colder on Tuesday morning. We'll moderate a little bit, but as somebody asked earlier, when's the snow going to melt? It's not. Not anytime soon. I'll put it to you that way. I'm a pepperoni man. I'm pretty simple. Green pepper, sometimes a little drizzle of barbecue sauce on it. I love that. But no, I'm not a weird anchovies or pineapple pizza guy. So, and I do like Pizza Ranch. That's always a good place to go, especially when kids eat free. Again, if you're just joining us, thank you. If you have any questions about the storm, and boy, there's a reason to have a lot of them, feel free to share them in the chat. Otherwise, we do accept super chats. They support the channel. But we would be more than grateful for simply liking the video, subscribing to the channel. We will have live coverage. You won't see me throughout the storm, but we will try and have what you see on the screen other than me right now running throughout the storm. Latest advisories on the bottom of the screen, latest graphics, latest road conditions, some live pictures if we can get them. We do have live shots from Des Moines and Iowa City. So we will have all that for you as this plays out. One other resource I love telling people about, it's kind of hard to put on here because it's really just still images. But if you want to know what it's going to look like as this starts before you travel out, Iowa road conditions online, if you go on a computer, especially on a computer, they have all kinds of information there. And one of the more eye-opening features they have is they have on most of their snowplows, they have cameras. And so you can click on and see where a plow is at any given time on the map, and you can get a still image of what that plow is seeing. So, if you got to travel on Highway 3 tomorrow afternoon and you're wondering what it looks like, you got to travel for an hour or two, you can see exactly what's going on Highway 3, because I would imagine by tomorrow afternoon, the plows are going to be out on Highway 3, especially west of Mason City, west of Hampton, as the snow begins to fall. Obviously, there'll be a little bit of treatment of the roads. I don't think there's going to be a need for a lot of that because this is going to fall as snow. I don't think we're going to see a lot of icing issues. I don't think we're going to see a lot of real slick conditions. It's just going to be snow. And that's a blessing and a curse. But it's still going to be a problem just because of the sheer weight and intensity of this falling and lasting for such a long period of time. These winter storm warnings are lasting 36 hours roughly, maybe even 48 hours. This is a storm system that we're going to be dealing with all weekend long. When the snow starts falling where you live, it's going to continue for quite some time. At least 24, 36 hours is what we're looking at right now. All right, we'll go ahead and take a look at the snow forecast we have right now. I tried to update this once the new model runs came in. We're seeing that enhanced risk from a foot or more of snow over a very large area. Again, that does not mean everyone in the red is going to see a foot of snow. That's where the highest risk exists. That is an area where about 15 to 25% has a 15 to 25% chance of seeing more than a foot. That 8-inch area, that purple you see around it, that area has about a 70 to 80% chance of seeing 8 inches of snow or more. So even if you live in the area in the red, I want to stress the forecast is for 8 to 12. But there is a very significant risk in that area that local areas could see higher amounts. We've seen some trying to creep close to 18 inches, but we've also seen other models say, no, this is going to be closer to 6 inches. The consensus, most of the models we look at are erring on the higher side of around a foot of snow. That doesn't mean everyone is going to see that, but that is a very real possibility, and I think that's what people need to prepare for. And so that's why, I don't think anybody who's been following this and knows what to look for is saying anything different. Saturday is not a day to be outside traveling here in Iowa. About the only critical thing that you need to be doing outside on Saturday is maybe a round or two of clearing the driveway and the sidewalk. I don't think you want to just I don't think you want to wait till Sunday and try and dig it all out at once. It is going to be a lot in many places. I know I speak from experience, dealing with the heavy snow. And when you're talking about a foot, you're talking about getting over the deck of some of your smaller snow throwers and snow blowers, and that is just not fun to deal with. Thanks for the compliment, and I hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving too. We had quite a full household today. Food was good. Now we're just getting ready to head for bed and get ready for what to expect tomorrow. I'm going to try and have an update around sunrise tomorrow, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up here before the top of the hour, I would think. And I think that's the best advice for everybody right now is you've seen the forecast, you see what it could be doing Friday night through Saturday and Sunday. Yes, it absolutely could change. We will get a new look tomorrow morning. We'll get another model run or two under our belt, and we'll get the latest from the Weather Service and see what they're saying. But right now, all signs point to a very significant winter weather event happening over the state of Iowa, with very real and significant impacts throughout the day Saturday and Sunday to travel. So I imagine anybody who's a road crew is going to get as much sleep as possible as they can tonight and tomorrow, because beginning tomorrow night, things are going to get very dicey for quite a while across the state of Iowa. Again, there you see the winter storm warning in pink, now in effect for various times depending on where you live. Northwest Iowa, this will begin tomorrow afternoon and run through Saturday evening. Eastern Iowa, this begins, I believe, midnight tomorrow night until Sunday morning. So basically a west to east situation. We're looking at a 48 to 72 hour event here in Iowa. And what is going to be critical to plans on Monday is how quickly the snow moves out on Sunday. Some of the models say the snow is going to push out pretty early on Sunday. That would be great because it is going to take a long time to dig out from this. But if the snow lingers through the afternoon on Sunday, it's just going to complicate matters. But that is probably one of the biggest variables we're looking at right now is how quickly does the snow move out. We're really hoping close to sunrise on Sunday that most of the snow will be moving out of the area, but it will be very cold behind this system. So Sunday will not be a pleasant day. And I think Sunday for most Iowans will be focused on digging out, whether it's your driveway, your sidewalk, or plow crews trying to get as many roads dug out as they can. For those of you in rural Iowa, look, you've been through this before, so I think you have a good idea of how long it can take in heavy snow events to get your road dug out. This is not something we've never seen before. It's not unprecedented, but what's concerning about it is the scope of it and how widespread some of these heavy snow totals could end up being. We don't normally see winter storm warnings this large, and we're going to see it expand across further to our south and east. Chicago is going to take a pounding from this after us, and so travel is going to be deeply impacted, especially to our east, as this thing hits the major transportation hubs Saturday and Sunday. Troy, you were asking about a snow emergency potential. Yeah, I would say there's going to be a snow emergency if that is what your city does. I believe snow emergencies generally take effect anytime that there's a winter storm warning issued, but you'll need to check with your local city in terms of how they do that snow emergency and the timing. Most cities will post that on their Facebook page or their website. I know here for me personally, our trash pickup's delayed by a day. So now I'm curious, are we going to get our trash picked up on Saturday? Because we're going to have a lot of, turkey bones and other food waste that is going to be sitting in our, our trash can if they don't pick it up on Saturday. So always check with your local city. Most of them are really good about putting it online or their Facebook page or relaying it through the media. Just about any television station out there compiles a pretty good list of delays, cancellations, and other weather information like snow emergencies. That's something we simply cannot do. And if anybody out there is curious about services, church services on Sunday, that will likely be a problem. And so be prepared for it not being a good idea to travel to services on Sunday if this does play out the way we think it's going to play out. But again, we have time. Okay, we're going to have most of the day tomorrow. We will have tomorrow morning to get another look before the snow starts. And as the snow starts, if this begins to verify, that will also alter the forecast because we're still going to be looking at that because this is such a long duration event. This isn't like a severe weather event where, once it starts, then the prediction stops because we got to focus on what's happening. This is such a long duration event. That's going to impact the forecasted totals as we move through the day on Friday and even on Saturday. But right now, all signs point to a overwhelming amount of snow for much of the state of Iowa. Anywhere you see in pink is virtually expected at least, not guaranteed, to get 6 inches or more. A large portion of this area has a high likelihood of seeing 8 inches or more, and a significant portion of this area, almost half, has a noticeable risk of seeing a foot or more of snow. But this really will all play out into where the heaviest snow bands set up, where they develop, where they travel. That's what we're going to be watching. And right now, that greatest risk lies between Highway 20 and I-80, especially east of Fort Dodge. Now, that does include Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Waterloo, Dubuque, Des Moines, Ames. So a lot of people could be seeing a lot of snow, and it will take some time to dig out both your property and for area municipalities to clear the roads as well. All right, well, I think we're going to wrap it up for now. We're going to go ahead and end the feed. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank everyone for their questions, everyone for subscribing and liking the channel, liking this post. We will try and have an update for you tomorrow, and then we will probably get the live stream up and running sometime around midday tomorrow, and may try and keep it up all the way through the storm. So hopefully you'll join us sometime this weekend, and above all else, make sure you stay safe over the next 72 hours.